Welcome to Fear Babes Podcast, a paranormal podcast founded and hosted by Fear fan members.
All thoughts and opinions are strictly our own, and we are not affiliated with any shows in any way.
My name is Burgundy.
My name is Madeline.
And we are
the Fear Babes.
Welcome back to Fear Babes Podcast. In recent news, no, I'm just kidding. I was thinking all week about a cool intro to do for the podcast, and I had something that I thought was funny and I forgot it. So that was it. That was an improv.
That was the best intro I have ever heard in my life.
No, the best one was when I was like, I'm calling about your car's extended warranty. No, I'm just kidding.
I forgot about that one. Today is Sierra's birthday. Not when everybody's listening to this, but it is Sierra's birthday today when we're recording this, and they all went to dinner and they went to have sushi, and I'm like, fuck everybody.
You're like, you could have taken me with you.
Except Sierra.
Oh my god, hold on. My brother's calling me now. What is happening?
She had to go mute. That's my contribution to her being mute.
Okay, well, I'll call you later.
Okay.
Say hi to the podcast people. I put you on the recording.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
No, say hello, Fear Babes listeners.
Hello, Fear Babes listeners.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, let me do bye.
Oh my god.
That should be the introduction. Hello, Fear Babes listeners.
Perfect, and nobody will even know.
Who the fuck is that guy? Can you hear the microphone doing the thing that it did last time I was here recording?
No, not right now anyway.
Okay. Well, it's doing the thing, so you might hear it later. But, so, everybody went out to dinner for Sierra's birthday.
Yeah.
And you were like, fuck everybody.
Well, I woke up from a nap and I had already eaten, and I didn't know that they were doing that.
Rude.
So I was like, no! And yeah, it's fine though. I went out to lunch today to meet a friend that I haven't seen in almost 2 years, so it was great. But I was like, no, I love sushi.
Dang it. They should have told you.
Right?
Because you're 2 hours ahead of me, so you still could have gone, had y'all planned it properly before we recorded.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But it worked out how it was supposed to. I'm sure me and Zia are going to do something else.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
You guys can play mermaids.
I do want to play mermaids in my pool. I haven't swam in it in 2 weeks almost.
Damn it.
Yeah, because last weekend we were in Asheville. And that was fun. It was a good time. It rained a lot, but it felt so nice. And I got dressed in a fancy dress. And it was fun. And it was for Leah's bachelorette trip. That's the most important part that I didn't mention. It was for Leah's bachelorette trip.
I have a bachelorette trip next month.
Oh my gosh. Please get penis whistles from Temu, because they were the highlight of our fucking trip.
We were told we can't do anything penis shaped.
No! At least for penis whistles. At least penis whistles. Please say, okay, nobody gives a fuck. I understand about everything else. It can get kind of obnoxious. But penis whistles? Oh my god, bro.
I'll text Ryan right now. I'll be like, can we please have penis whistles at your bachelorette party?
Please! Because it's just so funny, and they have little feathers on it to be hair.
Oh my gosh.
And it's the best thing I have ever experienced in my life. It was great.
I love that. That's funny. Okay, I just texted her.
Okay, good.
What she says. I'm gonna put this on mute though, so it doesn't vibrate and everybody hears it. Oh no, here comes a diesel. Act normal.
I hear the sound now.
Yeah, see? I don't know why it keeps doing that. Only at mom's house. Never at my house. Only at mom's house.
That's strange.
I'm gonna leave it in. Since we're a paranormal podcast, you never know.
Yeah, it could be paranormal. It most likely might be, actually.
I was editing this weekend's podcast last night, and well, not this weekend when everybody hears this, but whatever. Back to the mermaids thing, and you were talking about playing mermaids then. We were talking about playing mermaids then, actually, so that was funny. But at that time, you hadn't got to use your pool in a hot minute then either, so.
Oh, it's so funny because, like, we've had this pool for almost a month now, and I feel like we've barely gotten to use it. We've been so busy, and it's been storming a lot, and it's like, I want to play mermaids. I mean, when I was in the pool, I think the last time I was in the pool, I was trying to get on my donut float, and I almost died. I did a backflip, and it was bad.
Dang it.
I did a backflip in the water. Unfortunately, my brother was out there. I'm being dramatic. I didn't almost die because I used to do backflips in the pool when I was a kid all the time. So I knew what to do. But my brother was there, and he was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And I was like, "I did a backflip." He's like, "I know. That happened so fast." And I was like, "Oh my god."
That's funny.
But aside from that, like, swimming in the pool and watching Smiling Friends is like the extent of just everything right now.
And watching what?
Smiling Friends.
What is that?
Please watch it. It is so stupid, but it's so funny at the same time.
What is it?
I'm gonna send you a clip of it. Like,
okay.
It's so funny. It's so funny. I've been watching it like all afternoon. And there's one part, what they do, the reason why they call it Smiling Friends is because it's like these group of guys, they work for a company literally called Smiling Friends. And it's an animation as well, by the way. That's important to add. They work for a company called Smiling Friends, and they get this like like jobs where they have to make people smile. And one of them was a guy, well, it was a shrimp, and he was so funny. And one of the guys is yellow, and he was like, "How do I look, yellow man?" I gotta find it. You have to
is this on YouTube or?
No, it's on HBO Max.
Oh damn! Okay.
Here we go.
I'll have to look into it.
So everybody knows what I'm talking about. I'm gonna play the sound, but I'm gonna send you the clip as well.
Okay.
Because it's so funny.
Ouch.
Here we go.
I told you, man, you need to get over her, okay? There's plenty more fish in the sea.
How do I look, yellow man?
How do I look, yellow man?
That's funny. Oh my gosh, the shrimp is creepy.
I know.
What the frick? Oh my gosh. Whenever I see animations like that, I'm like, I should have created something like that.
Right? Because it's so
simple.
Stupid.
Yeah.
It's simple and it's stupid and none of it makes any fucking sense. Like, it's incredible.
That is funny. Hold on.
No.
Okay, well, we're running out of time for this introduction, so should we tell the people what they want to hear?
Yes.
Okay, so last week, we talked to Brandon Chasen from Ontario's Most Haunted, and this week, we're talking to our dear friend, Allie Rose. Some of you might know her as the Ghost Girl. So with that, take it away, Mads.
Babes, please help me welcome Allie Rose, the Ghost Girl. Allie, thank you so much for joining us. To start off, can you go a little bit in depth about what inspired you to write your books?
Yes. So I have been a paranormal investigator since I was really young. I grew up in a haunted house, and that's kind of what got me started with everything. And I started investigating with friends when I was like 13. So of course you didn't have a lot of proper equipment or anything, but that's when we got started. We started out investigating my old home, and we later branched out to investigating various different places in our town, which was a super haunted town. And that's kind of what the books are about.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
I haven't even gotten a chance to read them yet, but I promise you it's on my TBR.
Awesome. Let me know how you like them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually just started reading your book last night. I was like, I need
Hey,
to read this.
awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I'll ask you more questions about it later, as we get further into this. But so, was there a specific moment that like kind of started the paranormal journey for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily a moment. It was just that like I grew up in that house and it was like extremely haunted, super active, but I started watching Paranormal State, which used to be on A&E, and I was like really inspired by that. And it kind of like helped me realize that like so the spirits in that house, a lot of them were not very nice. And Ryan, the person who was like the lead investigator of the Paranormal State team, in that show, he would stand up to spirits a lot. And I was like, oh, I never like thought about it that I could do that, you know. So I started doing that. And that also one thing led to another, and I also was like, I kind of just wanted to start investigating more because, you know, I started learning that not all spirits are necessarily like mean, like the ones in my house, and you can do a lot of good with that. So I guess it was around the time I started watching that show, probably.
Nice.
I don't think I ever saw Paranormal State now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it, but I don't think I ever watched it either.
You should. It's really good. Like it's not like a show where they go to locations and like kind of investigate to get evidence. It's more of like they do house calls, which is really interesting to me. It kind of reminds me of like, well, Kindred Spirits, you know, kind of like that.
Nice.
Ooh, interesting. So yeah, I like the house call aspect of things because it's not something I feel like you see on paranormal TV much.
Right.
Yeah, and like to me, houses, like haunted houses, honestly scare me a lot more than like some of the bigger locations that like I've been to. I don't get intimidated by the bigger locations, but if it's like somebody's house, it's like almost a more personal haunting, and it just
Yeah.
really creeps me out.
That's funny that you said that because I literally, as you were like explaining that to us, I was about to ask, like, do you think it's a more personal haunting? Like, did you read my mind, Allie? Like, what's going on
Maybe
here?
I did.
Oh my gosh, it's a different level of paranormal.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She has wait guys. She has ESPN.
ESPN. It's like I have ESPN or something.
I'm glad you got that.
That's so funny. I love that.
Okay, so what is your favorite tool or investigation method when you're out investigating?
Yeah, so I really, really, really like the spirit box. I have had some great experiences with it, and only recently, like this year, I started doing the Estes method more, and that is just, I think that is incredible because it's like for somebody to be under to where they can't hear what you're asking and they directly answer questions, like that is like next level for me.
Yeah, that always fascinates me when we're watching it. Like, you know, in Project Fear, for example, because all three of us are Project Fear fans. Like,
Yep.
every time they do an Estes method, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I'm sure experiencing it is like way different.
Yeah, and like whenever you're the one who's under and you're just hearing these words come through, and then after you like, you know, take off the headphones, everyone is like staring at you. They're like, "Oh my God, you won't even believe it." And you just watch back and you're like, "Okay, well, I had no idea why I was saying any of that, but now it
makes sense." Oh no,
Yeah.
did we lose you?
No. Oh no.
No. Steve, give Allie back to us!
Wait, what just happened?
Oh, okay. You're back.
The panic.
Did Steve cut me off?
I think so.
Damn it, Steve.
You know, could you still hear us though?
Yeah, I could hear you guys fine. What the heck?
Because when I said to give you back, you just came back.
Literally.
God,
It was
Like-
really weird.
So funny.
what the heck?
I told you, man. It's like every time we talk to a paranormal investigator, it just gets weird.
That is wild.
It
Okay,
is.
well,
I'm
so,
kind of here
like,
for it, though. It's kind of a vibe, actually.
It is.
yeah, like,
It just
what
adds
the
to it.
heck?
I wonder how many more times it's gonna happen.
Oh.
I don't know. Just like, hey, Steve, you want to maybe stop that? Thanks.
Okay, so for listeners who don't know, perhaps, can you give us some background as to who Steve is?
Yes. So there is a ghost that like follows me around, and his name is Steve, and I know this because that's all he ever says is his name. So I first quote unquote, met Steve in Gettysburg at the Grove outside of East Cemetery Hill, and I asked if there are any spirits, and I was like, what's your name? And this voice came through and said Steve. But then every other question that I would ask, like even if it made absolutely no sense to answer it with Steve, he would say Steve. And it was the exact same voice. So I would be like, how many spirits are with us? And then a voice would come through and say Steve. And I'd be like, were you a Union or Confederate soldier? And he'd be like, Steve. And I'd be like, okay. So I made this joke, like after that, I started making this joke that anytime anything weird happened in my house, which does sometimes, I was like, oh, it's just Steve again. Well, a couple of months after that, I ended up going to Penhurst Asylum, and Steve decided to come through the spirit box. So now, every time I do an investigation where I use a spirit box, I ask for Steve to come through, and he literally comes through every single time. I have it on multiple videos. This has happened across the country. This happened in Florida. This happened, it is intense. So not only that, but recently, like a couple months ago, this other paranormal team reached out to me, and they had the same thing happen to them.
Really?
Yeah, it's a ghost named Steve that just comes through, and all he says is Steve.
Steve.
Yeah, he's just like, Steve.
Oh no. That's kind of
Yep.
creepy.
Yeah, so he doesn't give me bad vibes. He gives me kind of mischievous vibes, likes to mess with people type vibes, but
Yeah.
he's chill.
Nice. Except for
That's
when he
good.
cuts you off while we're
I was about to
recording
say,
our
except for when
podcast.
he tries to alienate me.
Come on, Steve. He's just like, guys, I need to be in the podcast too. It's fine. Like,
He's just making himself known.
you're right. He's like, I'm here too. Don't worry, I'm joining. And he's like, I am the fourth fear babe tonight. That is how this works.
exactly.
Steve the fear babe.
Yep, he is present.
So, what is your favorite location that you have investigated thus far?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So I have a few that I really like, but probably so far the former children's orphanage in Gettysburg. I go to Gettysburg all the time. I absolutely love it there. But the children's orphanage was probably one of the most active places I've been in a very long time.
Ooh, spooky. See, I don't know what it is about orphanages, but they just give me a
Extra
whole
chills.
extra chills, like a whole different level of just kind of
Yeah.
I don't know what's the proper word, discomfort perhaps, it's just
Yeah.
kind of not in a
Unease.
bad way. Yeah,
It's
not in a bad
Yeah.
way, but
Yeah.
more of an overwhelming sadness kind of way.
Yeah, it makes sense because, for a child to be put in an orphanage, it's a really sad situation in general, but this orphanage especially was really bad. The caretaker treated the children absolutely horribly. So the ghosts of the children there are pretty traumatized. And it is really sad. The overall atmosphere is really heavy, but the experience that I had going there, while it was really heavy, it was nice to be able to go to talk to the spirits about things that weren't their past. And judging by a lot of the responses we got, they also really appreciated that and they enjoyed their time with me and my group. And like at the end, they thanked us. And I felt like we made a positive impact on them. And that's just it was a really like profound feeling because, you know, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this at all. And I certainly do this sometimes too, but like, it's very common for like, to like go and investigate a place and just like, you know, scream and get scared and stuff, which I mean, all of us do it. But like, it just felt like a completely different experience to go in there and like focus solely not on the past, but on just communicating with them in the present and helping to take their mind off of what happened to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely, that's a different approach for sure. I don't know. Sorry. The dogs, they're doing something. Usually they're not like this, just by the way. I'm sorry.
It's probably Steve.
Yeah, probably the freaking energy, man. Like, sometimes they're perfect, other times they're not. Ugh, hold on just a second.
No, you're good.
So while Mads goes mute, I'll say this. So this is obviously just a personal opinion, so like I'm just going to share with you my thoughts on this topic. But to be more open to the paranormal in general, I feel like people who are more open to paranormal are very empathetic, right? So when you take an orphanage, so you have the ghosts, but then there are also children. And so I feel like for most empathetic people anyways, there's an innate want to protect kids. And so because you have that, it's just a very like extra somber feeling when it's a ghost of a child that is involved. If that makes sense. I feel like so orphanages, my gosh, I can't talk. Words are hard today. I feel like they just give an extra level of heaviness to them.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's already it's already such a sad situation for a kid to lose their parents. But then for like, you know, children to be put in that kind of situation, like a lot of orphanages were not always the best, and this one in particular especially wasn't. It's just really sad because like kids are innocent, you know. They and for terrible things to happen to anyone is awful, but for terrible things to happen to kids is just like next level sad. Yeah.
That's intense, dude.
Yeah.
I'm even getting like feels about it right now, and we're just talking about it.
I know.
Like,
And I feel weird that I said it's like my favorite location that I've been to, and it's not like it sounds weird now that I think about it because I'm like, oh, that's my favorite location. It's this place where horrible things happen.
Well,
and it's just like that's not why. It's because
the
of
impact it had on you, though.
Exactly. Yeah, like the experience that I had there, and the fact that I felt like I was able to like make a difference. You know, like it was just a really unique experience.
I think that it's very interesting that it's a different approach to just kind of focus on the now. Because everybody, I feel like when you watch paranormal investigators or you're with a group or whatever, a lot of times they're focused on the past. And so to be focused on the present, of course, I feel like they're going to appreciate that because they're just like, wow, somebody's not asking me about this traumatic shit that happened to me when I was alive. Like, they're asking me about what is happening now. Ugh. Like, you know, it's like a breath of fresh air. I can only imagine. Because imagine like being a spirit and you're just kind of like, man, I'm really like over. Like, obviously you don't know what's going to happen once you get to the other side. Like, it's such a it's such a profound thing.
Yeah.
We can't even comprehend it in our human brain of what exactly happens. And that's why we're all interested in like the paranormal, right? But like, just imagine being a spirit and being like, oh, it's a nice day. I don't have to talk to anybody about my past, my very traumatic past. And all of a sudden somebody comes in and then they're like, How did you die?
Remember that
like-
time you got stabbed?
Like, fuck! I don't want to talk about it again. But then, somebody else comes in, they're like, what's going on with you, homie? Like, what you doing now? And it's just like, I'm great. Thank you.
You want to hear about the time I got
Yeah,
stabbed?
like-
No.
That's like, like that's something that I try to do more now, especially after that experience, because it's like I try to go in and I ask about them. I'm like, what is your name? What's your favorite color? How old were you? And do you is there any one of us in this group that you like the best? Is there one of us that, like, can you point out something that we're wearing? Like stuff that keeps them in the present. And I'm not saying it's bad to ask questions about like the past, obviously, because like that's another part of collecting evidence, and but it definitely, I feel like it's more refreshing to the spirits who still have a consciousness to kind of not have the entire investigation be focused on that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That was
I don't know.
That was a cool take, though, Matt, to kind of like that thought process for sure.
Yeah.
Did y'all like my impression of a ghost? I hope that I'm just like a super chill, like, spirit. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope.
Bro, you're gonna be mischievous as fuck, dude.
Probably.
Like flicking people's
Probably.
ears and shit.
I would love to do that. I think it'd be super fun. Like, all seriousness, like, obviously death is serious, but like, it's inevitable for all of us. So you may as well have a great fucking time, man.
Right.
Yep.
So, like-
Exactly.
Life didn't have to be so serious, and neither does death, guys.
Exactly. So
Okay, Allie, so what kind of ghost you gonna be then?
I'm probably going to be the kind that like intentionally gives investigators like really good EVPs.
Sick. You're gonna be
That's
like,
always-
Allie. Every
Yeah,
time they ask
unless
you a question,
it's-
Allie.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm being like it's Steve, but Allie.
Oh yeah,
Every
exactly.
time someone says something, you're just Allie.
Yep, they'll be like, "Hey, what year is it, Allie?
Yeah, exactly.
How did you die, Allie?"
Allie.
You're like, "Wait, does that mean Allie killed you, Allie?"
No, but back to your
Like,
actual
no
answer,
answers, only Allie.
sorry. Just Allie, no one else. But sorry, I interrupted you though. So you're gonna be the type of ghost that gives investigators good EVPs.
Yeah, if I like them, certain groups I may not.
I mean, you
catch my drift.
You can't be for everyone and not everyone's for you. Am I right?
Yep.
Even in the afterlife, guys.
Yep, exactly. Like, if they're disrespectful, I'm not gonna entertain that. But
Yeah.
I feel like I'd want, because like as an investigator myself, it's like I kind of like know how it is to get like really good EVPs and how that feels, and it's like really exciting and stuff. And I would want to do that. It would be fun. Yep.
Do you want me to tell you the type of ghost that I would be?
Yes.
Yes.
So Mads is mischievous, and then Allie's like, I'm gonna give you good evidence unless I hate your fucking guts. I would be the type of ghost that does normal, like, you know how people have these certain ideas of ghosts being just so stereotypical? I would just be a stereotypical ghost just to fuck with people. Like, I would like get all up in their face, and I would just be like, boo. That's the kind of ghost I would be.
That is iconic. Like, imagine you literally hear someone just like, ooh. Like,
Yeah. I would just, so people would be like, oh my gosh, do you see that sheet moving? They're like, no, that's a person. And they rip the sheet off and nothing's there.
Yes!
That would be me.
That would be wonderful. Honestly, I would love that kind of ghost to be
Yes,
haunting
no.
my house if any ghost was going to haunt my house. No offense to the ghosts that haunt my house. They're
If
great.
I die before you, I will do that. Just for you.
Hell yeah.
Heal ye, brother. Okay, I kind of lost track of whose turn it was to ask a question though. So
I think it's yours.
Okay. Let's see. Where do I want to go with this?
Why did you start singing opera?
I don't know.
You do that a lot.
I love it.
theme music.
Oh,
Like I'll be at work and I'll just be like do 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 do. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what's happening. Neither does
It's always
anybody else.
helpful to have background music.
Yeah, exactly. So I know that earlier you were saying that the Estes method is your favorite method, but is there like a piece of equipment that is more effective than anything else, or would it still be doing the Estes method for you?
I would say so for equipment that I see as really reliable, I definitely see like a standard digital recorder as the most reliable, just in my experience. And also, this might sound odd, but the like cat ball toys that light up, those are not like designed for paranormal investigation. So like if they're lighting up, it means something 100% absolutely is touching them. And like if nobody's moving, like nobody's stomping on the ground or anything, and nobody's near it, like for it to start lighting up, like I feel like that's reliable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's like it's a cat ball, so it's not for paranormal. So the fact that if you use it in paranormal, it kind of feels like it's almost more like real legit evidence.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like, and I'm not saying that like, devices that are created for paranormal investigation aren't reliable, because I've gotten some really great responses with stuff like Ovilus and Spirit Box, all that kind of stuff. REM Pod I also love. But I think it's like even more like wow whenever something happens with what could just be considered a normal everyday object.
Mhm. I could see that for sure.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever use like kids' toys or anything then? Like, like toys that make sounds and stuff?
I have not personally. Well, actually, no, I think that I did. There were some kids' toys on like the location, but I don't have any that I bring with me. But that's something I've been wanting to do. I also really want one of those bears that like detects EMF and goes off whenever something touches it.
That'd be cool, but also kind of creepy at the same time.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of why I'm like, no, because I have this weird thing about like dolls and no.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Dolls are
It's like-
creepy as shit.
No kidding.
Yeah. Like
They
it
scare
takes
me.
a lot to scare me, but haunted dolls absolutely scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like I don't mess with that at all. Nope.
Yeah. Smart.
Well, see, the thing about haunted dolls too is that they are never dolls that look like even remotely enticing. They are just terrifying as a whole. Like you look at them, you're like, that motherfucker is haunted.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to run.
Yeah, like it's never an sweet, nice little looking doll. It's always like
No.
horrifying.
No,
Exactly.
like Annabelle
Yeah.
being Raggedy Ann. Are you freaking kidding me right now? I had a Raggedy Ann doll when I was younger, and I don't remember liking her that much.
I literally, I've known multiple people who have said the same thing. Like they had a Raggedy Ann doll when they were younger, and they either hated it, were afraid of it, or they just were like, like, what is it about Raggedy Ann dolls?
Okay.
No.
But can we talk about Furbies for a second?
Dude.
Furbies.
Like those things were fucking like I had a few of them and those were creepy if you think about it.
Yeah.
They're
they are
spawns of
creepy.
Satan.
Yeah, did you ever have them like you just be like dead asleep and it's like 2 a.m. and it starts talking and you're like,
Yes.
what?
It
And it's
speaks,
like in the
some
toy box.
language that's not English and not any language you've ever heard. Like it's not
Yeah.
Spanish, not English, not French, nothing. It's like weird.
And it's like not even it's like in the bottom of your toy box, like in the corner, like under all the rest of your toys.
Yes! And then it just springs to life in the middle of the night. You're just like, what?
Yeah. So creepy. Like what is that?
They scare
nope.
me.
Big note.
I don't know why we
No.
ever had those as kids.
No. Now I have like I was thinking about Furbies and then the Raggedy Ann. Like, why was that? I don't know. Like, for our generation, was Raggedy Ann really a big thing? Like, I remember being Raggedy Ann for like Halloween.
I
Oh.
wasn't that into Raggedy Ann. I don't think I had a Raggedy Ann doll.
I don't think I had
Yeah.
a choice. I think my mom was like, "You're going to be Raggedy Ann," and I was like,
You're like, okay.
"Yeah, okay."
I think that
That
was more of like our parents' generation that had Raggedy
Yeah.
Ann dolls.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. What
Um,
the frick?
But so speaking of like things that sound all nice but they're actually terrifying, that reminds me of an experience I had in the house that I grew up in, and this is probably one of the scariest things that happened in that house. Would you like to hear the story of the Bunny Man?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, okay. First of all, before you get into this,
Yeah.
I read this part of your book. Okay, so
Yeah.
I know what's coming, and I am not prepared. So go ahead, scare the shit out of Mads. Go for it. I'm listening.
Yeah, so one night in the middle of the night, I want to say I was like 10, 11, I don't even know. But I was like a young kid, and I woke up in the middle of the night because I heard something fall in my room and start shuffling, and there was nothing there. The lights were on, by the way. I slept with the lights on all the time because if I didn't, there would be shadow people, and it was scary. So I grabbed my blanket and my pillow and I went into my brother's room, and he was like a toddler at this point, so he was sleeping in his own bed, but he still had the crib in his room, like my parents just hadn't taken it down. So I crawled into the crib and I was like, this is where I'm sleeping tonight. I am not sleeping in my room. Screw that. So I am sleeping and the lights are off in there. I felt more safe because someone was in there with me, you know. And the door opens and I see this shape go like swoosh across the floor. And I thought it was one of our dogs. But like then again, who would have opened up the door? So I was like, maybe it was my parents. No. Next thing I know, this big thing jumps up and tries to crawl into the crib. And it did not look like anything I've ever seen, anything I've ever heard of anyone seeing. It was like, it almost looked two-dimensional, like it almost looked like a drawing, which I know that sounds really weird, but it was like this glowing white figure with long arms that had like claws, and it didn't have a face, and like its head was huge, like it didn't have a neck, like it's really creepy. And it like tried to crawl up into the crib, and then it looked like it fell back down, and then it was gone. So that was the first time I saw it. The second time I saw it, I was sleeping in my room again, and this time the door was closed and my dog was in there with me. And she started whining at the door, and I thought like maybe she needed to be let out to go to the bathroom. So I opened the door, and that thing is there crouching in the hallway. With its hands like in front of itself, like how people like imitate a bunny rabbit. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that happened. And I think this was actually before that second time I saw it. But one time, my little brother had actually woke up in the middle of the night, and he, I guess, went to the kitchen to get a snack or water or something. And that kid comes running into my room, screaming, crying hysterically. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, the bunny man tried to get me. And I was like, what? And he was like, the bunny man tried to get me. And I was like, okay, you must have just had a nightmare. Later on, he was drawing in his like notebook. He is a fantastic horror artist now, by the way. Just side note. But he was drawing, and I looked at what he was drawing, and I was like, what is that? Because he was drawing exactly the same thing that I had seen. And he was like, that's the bunny man.
No.
Yeah. So the fact that we both saw the same thing, and like I understood exactly what he meant whenever I saw it the second time, because I was like, why are you calling it a bunny man? Because it didn't look like a bunny to me. But like now, like in like a little kid's mind, like a big white figure with its hands in front of it like that, like I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Creepy, dude.
That's Ugh.
Okay. So, Allie, this is just probably the human part of me trying to make sense of things like this. But when I read that part in your book, for some reason, I envisioned a character from Monsters, Inc. Um, do you know the one that he's like blue and he's really tall? I just Googled it real fast here. I'll just take a picture and send it to you guys. This is what I pictured when I was reading this part of your book for some reason. And I think, like I said, it's just the human part of me trying to make sense of things that don't make sense, you know?
Yeah. Will I be able to like go over to Instagram while I have this open on my desktop?
Oh shit, probably not. Because you're on your phone, aren't you?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well,
Shit.
he's blue and he's tall and he kind of looks like, I don't know, kind of reptilian.
Yes,
He's the one that's sitting
yes!
down and he's crying like when he comes out of the
Wait,
room.
wait. Let me
with the
grab my
little claws.
computer real quick and
Okay.
see if I can look him up because I need to see this now because I don't remember this.
He's Pete.
goes,
Pete
yeah,
Ward.
Pete Claus Ward. Yeah.
Claus. Okay, 1 second. All right, my computer is waking up. So while it's doing that, yeah. So that is whenever people are like, "Oh, you know, how creepy could it really be?" I'm like, "I'll tell you the story of the Bunny Man." And they're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. I knew the moment you said it, I was like, oh fuck, I just read this in your book. I'm scared.
My sister-in-law, her girlfriend, when she read that part in my book, she threw the book across the room.
Yeah. It was creepy, dude. I was
she
like, ugh. Okay,
I'm
did you
Okay,
freaking-
so what's the bunny man person called in Monsters Inc?
Pete Claus Ward.
Okay, Pete Claus. How does that look like a bunny?
It doesn't, but when I was reading your book, this is what, like, the part where you
Oh.
said that he crawled into the crib, this is exactly what I envisioned for some reason.
Yeah, like the claws are actually pretty accurate. Like it was
That's creepy.
like that. It was
Why'd
like
you tell me
arms.
that?
Yeah. It was like arms that had like they didn't have it wasn't hands, it was claws. So the claws are pretty accurate. But the rest of it is not really. But like I understand where you would have got that from though, because like
just in my head, like, because when I was reading it and you said that, like, it doesn't really have a neck, like, his head is just kind of on his shoulders and stuff. That I don't know why. This is just my brain was like, it's the guy from Monsters Inc.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that because like the way it doesn't have a neck, but the thing that I saw, so it did have like kind of a similar shape at the top, I guess. But like its face was like flat.
Ew.
Yeah, like it's so scary. Like it literally looked like some kind of drawing to me.
So creepy.
It's hard to explain. I actually drew it somewhere. I have a video somewhere on my TikTok where I drew it, and it's like a terrible drawing, but it actually looks very accurate to exactly what I saw because it looks like something that was a drawing that was a really bad drawing.
That's so creepy.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so creepy, but it shows like exactly just how much like there's so many different types of like cryptids and shit that we just don't know about.
Allie, I'll tell you about an experience I had. Mads knows about it. I don't know if I'm ready to leave it in the podcast though.
Okay.
But
That's
you'll get a kick out of this just because it's very controversial. So I'm pretty sure that for a while I had an alien ghost attached to me. Yeah.
Like a gray or something?
Well, no. He didn't look. He almost kind of looked a little bit like Groot, but he wasn't like. He had like it was more. I don't want to say scales, but it was kind of closer to reptilian skin than like our skin, for example. And he was like gray with blue. He had like blue markings on his body. So how it started was like, obviously people know because Mads and I've talked about it before, but sometimes I dabble in the use of marijuana. And so do you remember when I told you the story of when I was moonlight kayaking and we slipped into the Vale?
Yes.
Okay. So ever since then, every time I get super high, I get really close to the Vale again, like the opening of it. So it's within like 5 feet of me, and I feel like I can see things, like not see, but I can like feel things like peeking around the corner at me, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And I won't approach them and they won't approach me. We just kind of keep this like mutual distance, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I know you're there, I know you're close to me, but I'm not ready to approach this. So we're
Yep.
just gonna stay 5 feet away, thanks. There was a couple times where it was like, I thought that I could feel the presence of something, and it never felt human to me. And there was like one time I was like laying on my couch and I had to pee, so I got up and I went to my bathroom, and I lived by myself, and so I just peed with the door open. And in the hallway on the carpet, I saw a foot. Like, so when I walked into the hallway, like I felt like something was looking around the corner of the hallway at me. And so when I walked into the hallway, it backed off, and I was just like, I have God's light with me. I am not intimidated by you. I am more powerful than you. You will leave me alone. And so then I was like peeing, and then I saw a foot like step into the frame of the door. Just like in front of me. And it wasn't like, the weird thing though is I never felt scared. I saw this footprint, but it wasn't like a human footprint, and I didn't really know how to explain it. I was kind of like an elephant footprint almost, but like smaller. And I was like, I have God's light around me. I am not afraid of you. I am more powerful than you. You will not hurt me. Leave me alone. And it just stays back, right? And so there was one day my mom was going to stop by to get some clothes I had to take to donate because she was going to the secondhand store. And she was like, text me. She was like, okay, we're on our way. And I was like, I was watching TV, and I paused the TV, and I stood up and I started walking to the hallway, and the TV started playing again.
Oh.
And I would walk back out, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. And I paused it, and I got up and walked a few feet away again, and it started playing again. But right before it started playing, I heard this like growl kind of sound, and I was like, But I wasn't afraid, and so I just paused the TV, and I was like, I told you no. And it like nothing happened after that. And so I told my mom, I was like, I'm pretty sure I have someone from the spirit realm here with me. And she was like, do you want me to come in and check, like, see if I feel anything? And I was like, yeah, I mean, we might as well, because she's like connected to the other side, right? And stuff like that. And so I hadn't told my mom a single thing about what I thought I saw before, what I think it is. I didn't tell her it was human, non-human. I said nothing to her, right? So she comes into my house, and she like walks the whole house, stands in every room for a few minutes, comes back to my living room. She's like, okay, here's what I know. It's not living in your house. It's right outside the wall. And she like, Mads, because you were at my house, it's the wall behind the couch. And so basically in my backyard, she's like, it's just hanging out, and it's not mean, and it doesn't have ill intent, and I don't think it's human.
Yeah.
I think it's alien. And I was like, whoa. Because those are all the things that I was thinking, but I never told anybody, right? I was like, what? And I was like, she's like, neither of you are meant to communicate with each other, and that's why when you heard the noise, it didn't make sense, what you heard.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, so she was like explaining it to me. She's like, okay, here's the heaven realm, which is like above, right? She's like, here's the earth realm, which is below. And she's like, here's the alien realm, which is like just to the side. And I was like, okay. And then, and she had been drinking that day too, which is even, I was like, I don't know if that's even better or worse. But I was like, oh my gosh, she just like confirmed all of the theories I had, but I never told anybody. So then I went to take a nap that day, and when I was going to fall asleep, I like pictured him so clearly in my head, and I actually woke up and like did a doodle of what I thought he looked like.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you saw it in your mind's eye.
Yeah, and then and it's just like, he doesn't mean me any harm. I don't mean him any harm. My mom said if they have genders, it's a boy. And then she's like, neither of you, you both have the same type of spirit, and you're both just really curious of each other. And you're just not meant to communicate.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
Whoa. Yeah, and then she told me, like, because what's even more interesting is, like, I have the dogs, right? And they never freak out. So
Mhm.
like I never felt afraid. I never felt like I was in danger or anything. And then like 2 days later, I was laying on the couch with the dogs, and Diesel like kind of just sat up and he just stared out the back window.
Oh God.
But he just was staring at something, and I was like, "Is it the visitor, Dees?" And he wouldn't look at me, and that's very unusual for Diesel. And I was like, "Dees, what are you looking at?" And he like would not acknowledge me, and I was like, "Is it the visitor?" And then he kind of like snapped out of it and just like stared at me and like wagged his tail and got up and then sat back down and stared out the window again. And I was like,
Yeah,
"What are
he
you looking at?"
100% saw it.
Yeah, and then my mom's like, maybe you just need to help him go to the other side, because like I don't know why, but we somehow established it's an alien ghost.
Yeah.
It's not like he's in a different universe and our planes are meeting or anything like that. It's just like an
Yeah.
alien ghost. And so one day I was like, I told it, I was like, the one place you're not allowed in my house is my bedroom. Like, you cannot come in here. This is my safe space. And so one day I was like in my bed and I felt like he was in the doorway, like right outside in the hallway. And I was like, you need to go on to the other side now. You need to move on. Your loved ones are waiting for you. Like, go to the light. And I've never felt him since.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah. It was
That's
wild.
like, that is wild. Like there are so many things out there. Like a lot of people think of like spirits as like just humans who have died, but there's more than that. There are other like dimensions and stuff. I firmly believe that. And
Yeah.
some people can see into them easier than others, and also like you were talking about with like weed, it that and like some other drugs can actually bring you closer to it. That's why like a lot of people do like LSD and stuff to have like spiritual experiences. I don't do that because I'm afraid, because I have trauma associated with that. But I think like something like weed that's not like dangerous is like not a bad thing, and not a bad way to like kind of peep into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'll never do anything stronger than weed, because I'm just
Oh
not
yeah,
gonna
no.
fuck around. I am not about to fuck around and find out, okay? But
Nope.
yeah, I was like, I have to tell Allie about my alien visitor.
Yeah, that's so cool. So seeing stuff from like other dimensions that are like not human is always so interesting. Like I've definitely had experience. Like I think that the Bunny Man was something like that, but I don't think the Bunny Man was good. But I like that. I think it is important, and like your story is important, because it's like, just because something looks strange or isn't quite what you're used to doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad.
Right.
It's just part of life and death and existence, is that there are things that, oh God, I don't want to quote I don't want to quote
things
Kevin,
in this world we
where
do not
we may never
understand.
fully understand. I mean, it's true
Understand.
though. But
Yeah, I don't
True.
know. Maybe I'll leave it in the podcast. I'm sending you the picture on Instagram, by the way. Of
I mean,
what I drew.
to
what he
be
looks like.
completely honest, if you do leave it in the podcast, like I have proof, like I'm a witness to it as well, because when I went to Wyoming, and I think it was the night before our last night, because of the whole plane situation and the storms and having to stay an extra night. So I think it was the Friday night of when we were supposed to leave originally. I got up in the middle of the night, and that freaking, I don't know, I felt something in your living room, Bergie, and I don't know if it was that or something else or what, but like something was in there. Like I could feel it, because I wanted to, that feeling when you know that something's watching you or something's close and you want to run.
Yup.
I was feeling that, and I had not felt that at that point. That was like our third night at Bergie's house, technically, just not a consistent 3-night stay, if that makes sense, because we stayed the first 2 nights before we started our Wyoming road trip, and then we were home in Casper with Bergie, and then we were about to fly home. So it was our 3rd night. So a couple of days had been in between the first 2 nights we spent. But I don't know. The energy was hella weird. And I remember I looked into her living room and I was like, I don't know what's in there, but something is in there.
Yeah.
And then I just like ran, like kind of like half ran to her room, and I shut the door real quick.
Yeah.
You're like, nope.
I don't, for some reason, I got the vibes that it was like when he was around. Like I never felt like it meant me any harm or anything like that. Like kind
Yeah.
of like my mom said, it was just like curious of me
Yeah.
and me of it.
Yeah.
I was just
Well,
scared.
I 100% believe you because, like, well, first of all, like, I know you, and
Yeah.
but also, like, I mean, when I hear stories like that, it's like to come out with something that a lot of people might think is like super, like, is a little outlandish. It's like that honestly kind of like solidifies it even more for me though, because it's like there are some truly weird things out there, at least weird to us. And like I don't really talk too much publicly about like my like spiritual beliefs because they're really complicated, but I definitely do a lot of spiritual work, and there's a lot out there. It's like the spiritual realm, astral realm, all of that is, it is vast. So I definitely see it.
Yeah. We've said before on the podcast, I think, but in my opinion, if you're going to believe in paranormal, then why believe in only one piece of it?
Yeah.
Right.
If you're gonna be open enough to one part of it, like nothing is impossible then. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like there are people who say, you know, they believe in certain things and then they're like, "Oh, but you know, that there's no way that's real." And I'm like, "Well, why not though?"
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no way. Like, you know how like when you're younger and you're like, yeah, no way. No
Yeah.
way. But then like as an adult, I'm like, there's nothing that's an absolute hard no when it comes to the paranormal.
Exactly.
There's just like, I used to say absolutely not to Bigfoot, but like, who am I to say absolutely not? Like,
Yeah.
we don't know. Just like, you know, I'm open about my religious beliefs. I'm a Christian, though a lot of the practices and shit we're not going to get into that I don't necessarily agree with, but there are things in the Bible that I think people take too literally, but it's like, think about it though. Sometimes the Bible says things that make you go, wow, what if it's really not that crazy of a concept? Like,
Yeah.
you know, here recently I've been reading the Bible a little bit more, and I'm just kind of like, it's really not that outlandish, because in the Bible it talks about the paranormal as well. And
Yep.
people just completely graze over that, and I'm like,
So,
what
again,
the fuck?
the fear of the unknown. It's hard
Yeah.
for people to comprehend things that they just don't know about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like in the
Wow.
Bible, there's a lot. Like it's not just angels and demons and God.
Yeah.
It's like the Bible mentions like other types of spirits, and like it literally even says at one point, I don't even remember what exactly the line was, but something like demons and evil spirits, like demons and also evil spirits. So it's like there's not just demons and angels, like there are so many other kinds of spirits out there, and not all of them are evil. It was just like that was just an example. But like there's so much like in the Bible and in all sorts of religious texts that like, and it's so weird because if you study a lot of other religious texts, like not even just like the Abrahamic religions, like also like, you know, like paganism, like I'm a pagan, and different like mythologies, like from different pagan pantheons, like Greek mythology and Norse mythology, a lot of them have very eerily similar stories.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Me too, yeah.
When I was in college, we had to study like other religions as well. And that kind of like totally kind of just like shell shocks you in a way, because it's like, if everybody believes in something similar, like that's pretty fucking crazy within itself. People just, they don't talk about it. Like it is truthfully similar.
But if you take that, you can take that even further. It's like, that's just, it's different people's interpretations of what they think is happening. And that's really just the beauty of being a human. It's like, we can all experience the same thing and take different pieces of it away from the experience, you know?
Exactly. And it's like, we all, in a way, like believe in the same thing. We just believe different things about it.
Exactly.
That's how I kind of see it. Like even people that don't really believe in in anything. Like my husband, he doesn't really believe in anything, but even he has had times where he's been like, that was weird, but it's probably, this kind of, maybe like the human mind does things, and it's like, that's still like believing something can cause things to happen that are,
Yeah.
Right.
so it's like we all just believe different things about it, but we all know that there are things that are basically supernatural. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Things that are unexplained. happen.
unexplained. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's exactly what I have been saying from like ever since I learned about all that kind of stuff. I was like, but technically, I know I said that it was like the beginning of college, but now that I think about it, I think it was when I was younger as well, because I learned about like the Islamic faith, and I was like, what the fuck? This is so similar to Christianity that it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. A part of me thinks that everybody believes in the same God, but it's just that they don't necessarily believe in like Christ. Like obviously they don't believe in Christ, but it's like, you get what I mean.
Yeah. Then there's people like me who believe in Christ and also believe that there are other gods as well.
I mean, why not though? Again, if you're open to one, why can't you be open to more than one,
Well, the Bible even says like it mentions other gods. It says like, don't put any gods before me.
Right.
That doesn't mean they don't exist. That doesn't mean they can't be acknowledged. But that means that he is the
Almighty God.
The Almighty God. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh
wow. I haven't sat down and talked to anybody about this kind of thing in a while.
I was gonna say I gotta leave my alien story in now because it led to a great conversation.
If you're comfortable, you should. But
I mean, I'm not. I know it's not that I'm afraid. I'm just like, how people get about shit.
Yeah,
it's just But I mean, it's my experience. Who is anybody to invalidate what I think I experienced?
Right,
exactly.
Just like I don't believe in the whole thing of people invalidating other people's beliefs and their religious practices or anything to that extent. It's like, who the fuck are you to say what I believe is wrong? Because I'm not telling you what you believe is wrong.
Yeah, well, you're not me. You haven't experienced the things I've experienced in my life to make me come to these conclusions I have in my head.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
it's a broad concept, it's a broad thing, like paranormal as a whole. Like we went down this whole, I don't know if you listened to our episode with Kalani, Allie, but Kalani, that episode is probably one of my favorites that we've done on Fear Babes, because listening to him talk about things, it's like, dude, it's so similar to what we just discussed. Yeah. And just like everything is just, it's so incomprehensible. You can just keep going and going and going and nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly. That's why it's so fascinating. Like, that's why like so many people have such a strong interest in that topic, because it's like, it's just the unknown and the fact that there's always something else to think about and something else to learn and something else to try to figure out, like that's one thing that I wrote in my second book. I wrote something like, the more I searched for answers, the more questions I came up with.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's part of what makes it so interesting to me.
Yeah. It's just so fascinating.
I just, I nerd out so hard about conversations like this because it's so cool. You can have so all three of us have similar but different beliefs at the same time, and then you just all get to talking about it. And these are my favorite types of conversations. So just thank you for doing this with me, because I'm having the best time.
Literally, it is.
Well, thank you for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, but this, I'm just like, this is such a cool conversation. It's like, oh my god,
we're like nodes. The nodes in the best way.
Yeah. I call them campfire conversations.
Yes, the best.
Yeah. That's great. I'm like, okay. Anyways.
Oh my god. That reminds me. Dude, Allie, have you seen Smiling Friends?
Oh my god.
I have not. No! Should I be terrified?
No.
Well, of the shrimp guy, maybe.
I'm gonna send it in the group chat and just let everybody just not understand what's going on.
Just zero
Again.
context.
We just keep doing that. I should have sent my
keep doing
alien
that.
pic in the group chat too.
You should. And we love doing shit like that. It's so funny.
Oh my god.
I
Allie,
love it.
are you gonna go to Penhurst next year?
Ooh, I don't think I'm gonna go next year. I want to go again someday. Obviously, it's just this upcoming year. I think I just really need to relax for a bit. The whole traveling and all of that. It was very exhausting.
Right.
But I'm still definitely got some cool things coming up that I'll be doing with paranormal stuff. But I think this year I might need to take a break from like travel as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, makes
Also
sense,
fair.
dude. That's what we
Yep.
did.
Yep.
We have been to so many conventions in the last little while that at the end of last year, Bergie and I, we were like, we need to take a break because it's a lot of people, it's a lot of energies,
Yes.
it's a lot of traveling, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of everything. So it's just kind of like, if anybody's gonna get it, it's us because we're
Yep.
just like,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah.
Since December 2021, I've been to 5 fucking conventions. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Damn.
And I live in the middle of fucking nowhere, so to get there is really expensive.
Y'all
Yes.
like travel across the country too, don't you?
Yeah.
Like I don't even live that far from Penhurst, and
No.
it was a lot for me, so I can't even imagine with y'all.
Yeah, because I had to
Yeah.
like fly from so last year when we went to Penhurst, I flew from here to Denver to Charlotte, and then stayed at Mads' house, and then we drove up from Mads' house
Yeah.
in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, we went
Wow.
through like what 6 states in one day.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
It was kind of crazy because, like, to me, okay, so going up north, obviously you hit more states. Going down south, you only hit a couple. So, like, I was used to doing the whole Florida trip to like Orlando. I'd been so many times doing the 8.5-hour shit. So I was like, this is nothing. It's my first time driving the full thing, but I'm used to people like splitting it with me. The only reason why Berkey did it is because her traffic is not like mine. It's not like ours, should I say.
Yeah.
We went through, okay, obviously we were in North Carolina, so we don't count that. Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania.
Hey, it's all my area.
I think it was just 4 states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we wanted to count North Carolina, technically 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
In one day. So it was just like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Because going up north, the traffic is insane. And
Oh
I'm
man, I know.
like,
Because like, so for the convention for Penhurst, like we just had to go like 2 hours like over to Pennsylvania, so that wasn't that bad. But on our way up here from Florida, which was like a 15-hour drive.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Oh, it was like Florida, Alabama, I think Georgia or Tennessee. We went through like Virginia, West Virginia, like it was intense.
You went through you're from the Florida Panhandle, right?
Yep.
That's why you went through Alabama. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Alabama. Oh,
Yeah.
Panhandle.
We're basically lower Alabama.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Another ooh. I'm just kidding. I've never been to Alabama. I
gosh.
can't say anything.
You could have been on the Floribama Shore MTV series.
Oh my god. I live like right next to like the Floribama, or I don't live there now, but I lived there like right near the Floribama area. Like like I lived in Pensacola, which is
Oh my gosh, yeah.
which is like 30 minutes from Gulf Shores, Perdido Key, like 30 minutes from Mobile, also not that far from New Orleans, not that far from Orlando. Like it's like right near all that stuff. And also, by the way, now that we're on the topic of Pensacola,
that place scares me.
It should. Not just because of the ghosts. There's a lot of wild shit that goes down there all the time. Typical Florida man stuff. But the ghost, it is the oldest settlement in America. It's not St. Augustine. St. Augustine was the first successful settlement.
Right.
Pensacola was an utter failure but it was the first settlement, and it ended in tragedy. So there has been tragedy and darkness just like seeped into it since it first was settled, and it is old and it's haunted as hell. Like,
Yeah.
Damn.
yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing about the Outer Banks too.
Yep.
Because, like, obviously, everything out there was settled a little after the Pensacola thing. Like, people don't even
Yeah.
know about Pensacola, but like, because of everything that happened with, like, when they came over to the Carolinas, they settled, and then freaking Sir Walter Raleigh was like, I gotta go get more supplies. And then he left for a couple months, and he came back and everybody was dead and gone. Well, so he thought. And so it's like, I don't know, man. That's the thing about the East Coast, is that it's so fucking scary. Like the 1500s and people, all the lore behind it. And it's like we have so much shit over here.
And then you've got like Appalachia over here.
Fucking hell, man. We were talking about that with Riley. She was like, Mad, so can you explain, like, is it Appalachian? I was like, Appalachia, man. And it's scary as shit.
I remember this episode.
Yeah.
Scary ass shit.
The cryptids, man. That's
the
what gets
cryptids.
me.
I like a minute ago with my curtains, like I had to get up to close them because I do not like to leave them open when it's dark.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's getting dark for you guys, huh? It's still bright here, so I'm like, yeah.
I don't want any windy boys staring in at me.
No.
No. Oh, just wait. We're kind of hoping at some point we want to get Sierra, my best friend, on the podcast. She is from Appalachia, like literally the mountains of Appalachia of North Carolina, and you'll be able to tell it too. That girl eats squirrel gravy and beer chili. I'm not even playing around with you.
Oh my god.
Like, did I say beer chili?
Beer. I was totally convinced that's exactly what you meant was beer chili. I was like, that adds up to math. You be mathing on that one.
It doesn't. I mean, with how they are out there, they make fucking moonshine and shit. Who knows what they do? You know, like,
I know.
It's crazy.
But yeah, we're going to get Cece on here to tell us some spooky stories.
Hell yeah.
Sierra, she doesn't even really believe in the paranormal. She's still like a non-believer.
She's seen so much paranormal that she's like, it just doesn't exist. No, I'm just
pretty much. I think that's where she's at. She's like, nope. If I don't pay it no attention, nope.
Well, that's kind of the rule in Appalachia, is like, if you see it, no, you did not.
Yep. And I think that because of that, she just, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes,
just
you
kind
did.
Of brushes it off.
Bigfoot literally walked up to Sierra and was like, hi, I'm Bigfoot. And she was like,
she'd be
no,
like,
she'd be like, not today. No, you're not.
She'd be like, you want some beer chili though?
Yeah, y'all should watch her. Well, you would have to go like into a deep dive, but her watching Project Fear is so funny because every time something semi-scary happens, she's like, ah! And then she closes her eyes, and I'm like, oh my god, you're so dramatic. Like, dude.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Random. This is so random, but Mads, because she said that her and Sierra used to watch Project Fear, made me think of this. So we put on the Olympics at work today, and I was like, y'all think Aubrey would notice if we just switched it to Project Fear? And then I was like, Robin, we should just switch it to Project Fear. And she's like, I mean, I'm down.
Everyone's like, I'm good with that.
I was like, for our October happy hour, we should just all watch an episode of Project Fear together. And everybody was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, bro. And then I was like, then we're going to listen to Fear Babes because we have 2 hours for our happy hour. So
hell yeah.
Listen to my voice after that. Like, we have to. We could carve pumpkins and watch Project Fear. I think that's what we should do.
That sounds so fun.
So
Cute. I think it's so funny that our conversation just kind of like took a turn for like
derailed.
Yeah, but in the most interesting, best way possible. Like,
I know. We're like, Allie, we have a whole interview for you. Just come on our podcast and let us interview you. And then we got through 5 of 17 possible questions we could ask you. And we're like, okay, let's just talk about shit now.
Yep.
It was so much better than we could have ever
I know.
anticipated.
It was funny
Absolutely.
too, though, because when we were talking about like the different like types of entities and then the religious stuff, I was like in my head, I was like, this is gonna be like one of the better episodes of Fear Babes ever.
Literally.
Like people are
Literally.
gonna love this one.
I
I'm
already-
honored to be on this one.
I knew it was
I
going to
know.
be good, but it just got so much better.
I know. I know. What else do you guys want to talk about?
So I have a scary Appalachian story. I don't know if y'all have heard this. I told this story on my TikTok because we were talking about like Appalachian creepiness and experiences.
Mhm.
So I had a really scary one while I was driving not that long ago.
Oh gosh, don't tell me you saw a Wendigo or something.
No, well, I don't
Okay.
know what it was actually.
Okay, lay it
But,
on us.
So I was driving to work and it was like early in the morning and I was on this really remote section of the road and like there was like the trees were like overhead and it was like a tunnel through trees basically. And there were no other cars on the road. Like it was just me and all of a sudden I see this like shape just like barreling toward me out of the corner of my eye in the rearview mirror. And I was like, where the heck did another car come from? Like, and I was like preparing to have to swerve off the road. Like that's how fast it was coming towards me. And I looked in the rearview mirror and nothing was there. And this is another one of those really weird stories. Again, like we were talking about weird shit that like you wouldn't even normally think of. So I looked up into the tree line behind me because I kept still checking behind me in the rearview mirror because that was so freaking scary. And I saw what looked like the outline of a figure in the trees, but it was like clear.
No.
And that's really hard to explain, but like I could still see the outline of something moving. And the weirdest part, and this is the part that sounds like kind of ridiculous, honestly, but it looked like it was swinging through the trees like like a monkey or something.
What the fuck, bro?
Yeah, I was like, what the actual fuck? Like, it was the weirdest thing I've probably ever seen. And I got this sense of like, you are in danger. Something is coming at you. It wants to hurt you. You're in trouble. You have to floor it and get to work. But in Appalachia, if you get that like primal fear, you're not supposed to run. You're supposed to ignore it and get out of there quickly but calmly. So I had to force myself not to step on the gas. And the whole time I was driving to work, I was like terrified. Like I genuinely felt like something was like stalking me. And I got to work fine. Nothing else happened after that. But that was one of the weirdest things I have ever had happen here. And I've seen plenty of like shit out in the like woods, like wild shit. But like that probably takes the cake. And once again it like goes back to the stuff that's just like kind of out of this world. It's not like your typical ghost experience, you know?
And you said that was recently?
That was like last year, I think.
No.
Yeah. It was scary.
It sounds scary.
The most recent thing that happened was kind of creepy. So my husband is a park ranger and he was showing me one of the parks that he goes to. There's this like creepy like rundown abandoned shed and we were like right outside of it, and all of a sudden we hear this siren going off like in the middle of the woods, but like not like an ambulance siren. Like it sounded like almost like a tornado siren.
No,
But we don't have tornado sirens.
That always freaks me out.
So, I mean, there could have been a rational explanation for that, but that was so creepy. But then as we were walking back and just kind of walking around the park in the woods, I kept hearing like behind me in the woods, like it sounded like a person saying like, "Hey," but it was
No.
like it didn't sound like a person at the same time. And I just
Really?
ignored it. I was
No.
like, nope, nope, nope. Not
Oh
gonna
my
just gonna
gosh.
pretend I didn't hear anything. And it was freaking scary, man. Like
Mads and I did like local lore, I guess. I don't know whatever episode that was. It was like local cryptids kind of that
yes.
we researched. I dived down, the TikTok rabbit hole, and there
Mhm.
was stories from like the Canada area where people have experienced stuff like that. I'm gonna go find them and send them to you.
Aren't those Wendy boys?
I think so. Sometimes I don't know. It
Yeah.
scares me. It freaks me out.
Yeah, because like,
Like
oh
listening to
God,
the story, I'm like, ugh.
yeah, I won't even say the name,
I know.
because they
Wendy
just scare the
boys.
shit out of me.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Apparently, we have those here in Wyoming, though.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all do.
Kevin Spacey was here like
Oh.
less than a month ago, investigating one on the
Oh.
mountain. Yeah.
Investigating a Wendy boy?
Well, a cryptid of some sort. People
Oh.
like apparently captured like a humanoid cryptid, but my theory is that it's a Wendy boy.
Oh. See, my
Yeah.
best friend, she lives in Arizona, and she doesn't have Wendy boys there. She has flesh pedestrians.
Ew, what is that? Oh,
Skin
okay.
skin
I got you.
W's. I don't want to
Mhm.
say the name.
I
You know what I mean,
those
though.
freak me out too.
That's true.
I
Flesh
know. I
pedestrians.
was like, what? And then I was like, oh, I know what you mean. Flesh pedestrian.
That's what I say instead of saying their actual name.
I know.
Flesh pedestrian. But
One night-
she is so casual about it. Like she's terrified of the Wendy boys up here, but like
But flesh pedestrians are okay?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, she has.
No.
She's like, yeah, there's probably some right outside my house right now. Like, oh well. And I'm like, dude, I would be crying. Like, fuck that. She's like, yeah, like I hear things calling my name from outside all the time, and I'm like,
No.
what the fuck,
Dude. So one night, it was after a Project Fear episode.
Oh,
me
God.
and I made my brother and his boyfriend watch Project Fear with me one night because my parents weren't available, and so we did it. Watched it at their house because my brother lives down the street from me. And then afterwards, I was like, "You guys want to go on a walk to like calm the fuck down?" And so we took his dog Apollo on a walk just through the neighborhood. But it was like nighttime, right? Because it's like 8
Yeah.
p.m. So it's getting dark outside, and we're walking, and there's this black cat sitting on this fence, and it was staring at us. But I'm telling you, the eyes were not cat eyes,
Oh God.
and I couldn't break eye contact with it. Like me and it were just
No.
staring at each other, and I was like, "Tid, it's a fucking skinwalker right there." Like it's just staring at us, dude. And I don't know, man. I don't know why I got that vibe, but I was like, something's not right here, and it just
That
wouldn't.
is
It wouldn't
so
move.
scary.
Yeah, and it just stared at us and watched us, and I was like, I swear to God, if it moves and follows us, I will like punt it across the fucking street. Like, I'm not even playing right now. It was so creepy.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I would be like,
I
fuck
was scared.
no. Like
Yeah.
big nope.
Yeah, I don't know. It was freaky, dude.
There is a flesh pedestrian story in my
The way
hometown.
you said it. Flesh pedestrian.
Flesh pedestrian. It's like I respectfully refuse to say the name.
That's fair.
But so it wasn't actually like a flesh pedestrian of legend because it wasn't on Navajo territory. It was in Florida, but I think it's a similar entity, and I think there are similar entities all around.
Right.
But that's like what people knew it as because it's basically the same thing. So I only ever had one experience that I think might have been related to it, but like my friends had really terrifying experiences. Like my friends who lived in the area where it was kind of said to roam around, like would wake up and hear like screaming outside their house and like and like it sounded like a person mimicking a human screaming, but like almost like making fun of them, like
No.
like taunting, kind of like the scream was, it's like if someone screamed and then you were to make fun of them and mock their scream. That's what it sounded like.
Ugh.
Another friend of mine saw this like humanoid gray thing with like orange eyes, and it was crawling on the ground like like no. I was like, fuck that. So I was in that same area with my at the time best friend, and we were driving, like, keep in mind, me and him had been friends, like, we grew up in Pensacola. We had been friends since we were like 11. So we knew our way around Pensacola. There's no way for us to get lost. Like, it was our home, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So he picks me up one day and I used to be a ballroom dancer, and we used to go to the same like dance hall, and we were driving there the same way we did like every weekend, and we found ourselves in the area where the flush pedestrian was said to be, and we got so lost that we ended up going an hour out of the way, and our GPS was not working at all, and we literally like were full on panicking. And we finally got to a main road, and it said we were still on the same road we started on, even though we had driven like an hour down the way.
What?
It was like this weird time thing. I don't even know. And as we were pulling back onto the main road, there were these people standing by the side of the road, and they just look like regular people, like nothing like weird about them, but they were staring us down, like angrily staring us down, like we weren't supposed to be there. And it was scary as hell. Like, I'm not saying it was that, but it was weird that happened in the same area.
Right.
Yeah.
Ew.
I'm telling you, Pensacola is a scary ass town.
You guys are giving me the heebie-jeebies now. I keep
Do you want to
looking
hear a
behind my
less scary
shoulder.
story?
I'm like, yeah, tell us about, like, I don't know, your wedding day or something. I'm not just kidding.
Your wedding day?
Well, I definitely could tell you about that. Something creepy happened after.
No! No more flesh pedestrians, okay?
Okay, so no more flesh pedestrians. I'll tell you about something creepy that not creepy as in ghost creepy. Creepy as in Florida man creepy that happened in Pensacola.
Okay, sometimes humans scare me more than fucking paranormal things. So
Yeah,
anyways, keep
actually,
going.
yeah.
So, where do I even start with the shit we saw? So, this one time, this is probably the wildest thing I've seen that wasn't paranormal. So, my husband and I, we were just driving through Krispy Kreme, getting donuts, as one does. And as we're in the drive-through line, these kids who are probably like 16, like they look like high school kids, pull up, they park in the parking lot, they get out, they kneel by the road, and they start barking.
What?
What?
At a Krispy Kreme?
Barking?
And we're like, what the actual fuck? Like, we're pretty sure they were on something.
I mean, to be fair, real quick, Krispy Kreme makes me bark too. So
I'm fair. That is fair.
the second I see that hot sign being on, I'm fucking barking.
Just like,
Just a visceral reaction.
yep.
Okay? Like,
You go feral.
Yeah.
Feral for the donuts. But yeah, so that happens. Then they get up, they go back to their car, they pull out Kim Jong-un, and you might have to censor that. Yeah, Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump masks.
oh my god.
And they put them on and start running around the parking lot. So at that point, we're leaving the parking lot. We had gotten our donuts, and we pull up out of the parking lot and onto the road that's next to the parking lot, so we can still see the parking lot from where we're at. And we're at a stoplight. And we look back, and the kids are like jumping on people's cars who are in the drive-through line, and they're trying to get into their cars.
Oh my gosh.
And so we called the cops, and the
Yeah.
cops came really
Good.
fast.
Good.
I don't know whatever became of that, but that's something that we saw.
So, drugs,
That's
not
scary.
even once. Fuck.
We've also seen some GTA type shit.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, that I believe.
Yeah, like we literally saw a woman, like trying to shake this guy off of the hood of her car. Like, it was
Shit.
freaking insane. That was another time we had to call the cops. Like, oh my god. Like,
be
the
fair-
Florida man thing is real.
I was about to say, because like we went to I mean, pretty much anywhere that you go in Florida, it's a little bit sketch to some
Yep.
extent, right? So
Yep.
like when we went to board our cruise, we had to go to Tampa. And bro, you want to talk about GTA shit? Going to Tampa was GTA. Like,
Yep.
I was sitting there. The only thing that made it semi-okay was that there was a Wawa. But
Yep.
we
Wawa
didn't even...
makes it worth it.
Yeah, but we didn't even go because I was like, I'm kind of scared to get
Don't
out.
blame me.
Like, it was so sketchy. And, like, here I was thinking Tampa would be kind of, like, nice or whatever. Absolutely fucking not.
No, big no.
No. I was scared. You know, if anybody lives in Tampa, I'm sorry, but that place is fucking scary. I was scared.
Yeah.
Like, it literally...
Guys, I'm supposed to be going to Florida for Thanksgiving this year, and now I'm freaked out.
You're going in the better part, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just in general, like, you know, be safe. It's, you know, yes, there's Florida man and there are gators. Don't get in a lake.
Yeah. That's the big thing down there. Is that
Yeah.
like any body of water aside from like the ocean?
There is definitely a gator in it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm just the ocean, and that's it. That's all I'll get into.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep.
It's just that there's
Like-
so much water down there that's not the ocean, and it's kind of weird. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you're in like low country for sure.
My husband and I had a alligator that we would regularly go visit at one of the parks. We named him Todd. It was short for Toddzilla because and he was like this one like lone alligator that like to hang out in this one area of Big Lagoon State Park, which was like in our city. And so sometimes we'd be like, hey, do you want to go try to find Todd? And we'd be like, yeah. And then we'd go, and usually we'd find him. He was pretty small. He was a tiny gator. But he was chill. He was chill around humans because humans probably fed him, and when they should not have.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is probably why he was so chill around us. But he was cool. I have a lot of pictures of him. He really did swim like Godzilla.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Gators don't scare me as much as they probably should, but
You're generally safe-ish if you're not in the water with them. They're a lot more
Yeah.
dangerous in the water. But, I mean, they can run, I believe, up to like 20 miles an
I was
hour
about
if they
to
really
say.
want.
they go really fast, bro.
Yeah. But if they're on land, they usually don't want to bother you. Like,
Yeah.
just stay away from them. But, like, don't swim with them because that's when they're, like,
Yeah, that's fair.
the most dangerous.
They want to.
You think sharks are scary? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God. No, I love sharks, but Jesus.
So different dangerous animal when we were in Yellowstone.
Oh, God.
There's like buffalo, right? Everywhere.
Yes.
So,
Oh my
and they're
God.
dangerous. But before we went, so on Facebook there's a page called Yellowstone Invasion of the Idiots. And so it just pops up on my feed all the time. And there was somebody found this buffalo, and they were like, this buffalo has quite the hairdo, and its hair is like part of, like, it's pushed forward. It almost looks like Elvis hair. So I nicknamed this buffalo Belvis. And I sent it to Mads and Sheena. I was like, y'all, we have to find Belvis while we're there. And that's just a joke, right? Because there's thousands of fucking buffalo in Yellowstone. I never thought we'd actually see this fucking buffalo. So we're driving through Yellowstone the last day on our way out, and lo and behold, who do we roll up on? Fucking Belvis!
Elvis! Oh, my
We
God.
were like, we found him! What are the odds?
We were
It was meant
so-
to be.
Yeah, we were so
At that
stoked.
point in the trip, we were kind of like, man, we're so tired and shit. And all of a sudden, we look over and we're like, oh my God, it's fucking Belvis, dude.
Dude, so it's even funnier, Allie, is because I was like, I'm more Star Trek over Belvis than I ever been over the Project Fear crew. Like,
100%.
we were so excited that we saw Belvis. We were like, oh my God! And then we like made up Elvis songs, but like as if Belvis was singing them about Yellowstone. Why we never vlogged that part of the trip, I don't know. But
no idea.
it was great. It was beautiful. You had to
I
be there.
love
Like,
that. Oh, my God. That sounds so fun.
so fun, dude.
it was ridiculous. It was
Oh,
great
God.
though.
How do I look, yellow man?
Oh my gosh. I just stopped the recording right there. Nothing else ever comes of this. People would be like, what the fuck?
So like,
Everybody-
excuse me.
Everybody needs to watch Smiling Friends. Do it. Do it.
All right, Allie. Well, I guess this was like the best conversation, by the way.
Hell
But
yeah.
before we let you go, do you have anything you want the listeners to know about your book? Like maybe where they can find them? Anything you want to talk about real fast before we end it?
Yeah, so you can find my books over on Amazon. Just look up either Ghost Girl by Allie Rose or The Door is Open by Allie Rose. I also have like social media, which is all under Spooky Alley Cake. I'm primarily on TikTok, which is where I make like videos that sort of promote my book, but also like a lot of spooky story times over there. Yeah, that's generally it.
Hell yeah. Everybody needs to go check her out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I purchased Allie's book. I started reading it. I'm slightly scared. It's fine. Like, it's all good.
You're like, it's all good. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Top 10 recommend. Also, don't read it before bedtime. Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye. All right, but thank
Exactly
you so
that.
much for joining us, Allie. This has been amazing.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's been so fun.
Yay. We're
I
so
don't
glad.
want it to end, but it has to.
I
know.
All
know.
good
No.
things must come to an end.
Nothing gold can stay.
Exactly.
That's me crying.
Well.
Thanks.
Oh. Dude, we could have timed that so much better. Oh, Mads, we practiced this.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding. You did
No.
scare me though. I was not prepared for that. Oh
I wasn't
my gosh.
prepared for you either.
Both of us at the same time, just wow. Except like not at the same time. So yeah.
That was our
I
episode.
really hope you enjoyed our conversation with Allie as much as we did. I love when we can have conversations with people like we did with Allie, where we just can riff off of each other and go off on like a tangent. But it was still paranormal, but it's just like an open conversation about different ideas, and it's kind of cool how everybody has similar but different ideas. So
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I really like being able to just riff off of each other for sure, and like going down this dark hole of just all things spooky and like all of these very broad, unexplainable concepts that are almost to the extent where they're so broad that you can barely even explain it yourself, and it's just like, whoa,
well,
you
'cause
know?
there's like so many avenues you can take with all of it too, because again, like we keep saying, not just this episode but previously in other episodes as well, is like, because the paranormal is essentially the unknown. Like none of us really have all of the answers, or any of the answers are true. They're like, anything's possible, right? So in each idea are multitudes of possibilities as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where when you are riffing off of each other and you have like new ideas that come to surface, and then you're like, oh, but now that you bring that up, what if blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah? What if blah, blah, blah? And because of this, what if this?
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, oh my God. And it just like, I don't know. I love conversations like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's my
it's-
favorite thing.
Yeah, it's fun. And then for me and you, especially because Pisces, it's kind of like our whole lives. Like we do that with everything. So
It's true. Allie's like that too. Allie's a Pisces. She was
See?
born one day before me. Well,
I guess I have nothing else left to say.
so homies, babes, dude babes, like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening to our podcast.
Mads,
Yeah.
it could be babes and bubs. Give me
Babes
that.
and bubs.
Yeah, babes and bubs.
Babes
idea.
and bubs. Interesting. Dude babes. Bub babes. Bubs babes.
What up, my bubs and my babes?
We can never be serious,
No,
but it's fine. That's what we're here for. So yeah, I
Like
think
you
that's
said.
the end.
like, comment, subscribe, follow, email us, thumbs up us, tell us how we're doing at Fear Babes on all platforms. Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye, babes.
Oh, sick.